I'm going on another walk along the fence in the pig pasture. There's mullein. That stuff is forsythia. You might recognize that. This is brome grass. I'm not going to be naming. There's daisy, I think. That's chicory. I'm not going to be naming every plant that I've already filmed. Now here in the goat pasture, ragweed there's not a lot of it. They'll eat it too, but they won't gobble it up like the pigs will. I'm going to pause here for a little bit. This is the place that in February I filmed. It was completely wild and frozen. Ground was frozen, but I opened it up to the pigs. And since it was frozen, I was running water across it. This is a canal. This is the main canal to this area, fed from back in there. I was running the water down across it to thaw it out so that the pigs could do their thing. And it worked. I mean, we worked together, and little by little I continued to develop and revive 30-year-old contour ditches. Now this area right here, the pigs went right after it. And it amazed me because you can see maybe that what this is a spoil pile from iron mines. There's no topsoil really there at all. The pigs little by little are, and along with me, we're going to reveal the mining operation that was here. But that you can see, it was the spoil from a strip mine that went up the hill behind me. The goat pasture is to the right, and I'll take a walk through that too as well. But look how different it is. Now this area right in here, the goats have free access to it, but they don't like this. They choose not to eat it. And just on the other side of the fence, you can see how much the pigs do like it. This is mostly sedge. I'm going to walk along the lower side of the fence, and then I'm going to go out through the woods, and we'll see a bunch of different kind of plants there. I'm going to be mentioning trees as well. Those are two thorn apples, hawthorns. I get them mixed up. But one other thing I wanted to say here, I had a memory come back to me. Joyce, my first wife, was here one time, and we took a walk out along toward the woods. None of this stuff was here, but of course the field was. And we came back. It was cow pasture at the time. And by the time we came back, she had gathered up enough pieces of weeds, fruit, wildflowers. I think it was in the fall or late summer, that she had enough to make a really amazing sculpture, which I believe, which we kept. I glassed it in later on, and my parents had it, and I think my sister has it now, I think. I guess there's a little more I want to say about this. What's making that so green out through there is that Pennsylvania sedge, mostly that, and probably nut sedge. Here's, you can see some nut sedge up close. I'm sorry about the focus. That I believe is ironweed. I didn't see any of that down below, but we'll see that. There's tussock sedge. But I wanted to show you down here. Now this area right in here, the goats, it's goat pasture. The goats have had access to it. But I'm going to turn the pigs into it because I want them to do what they've done below there, to really take it down so that I can then get to work on it again. And all of this that you're looking at from where the lane goes out to the road, all of this across here was just completely out of control, derelict pasture. And the pigs over the last year and I have brought it under control. There's a real good example of ripe nut sedge, and you can see I'm below the fence now, and the pigs, this is what they do. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe I hoed this as well because I was continually making the contour ditches. But this is what they do over here. You can see they take it right down at first, but as I say, then it recovers, and they go over to grazing eventually. This is all eventually going to even out, but where there was a little bit of extra moisture for a little bit longer time, you can see that the sedge, Pennsylvania sedge, and the yeah, I think that what looks so much like grass, I think is nut sedge. That it kept growing out through there. Now, another thing to keep in mind, this was basically destroyed by iron mining, surface iron mining, this whole area. You know, and eventually the pigs I'll be able to read the whole story. Another thing I wanted to say, well, no, wait, there's poverty grass. I could show you that. This patch that's so thick right here, I'm a little bit torn. If I move the fence to the ditch right up above it, which would be about 6 feet to the right or 8 feet to the right, the pigs would clean that right up. But there goes a certain form of biodiversity. And I would leave it like it is, except that the ditch leaks in quite a few places and it's a little harder to patch. I'm just not sure which way I'm going to go with that. Maybe out of laziness, I'll leave it like it is. And that's woody stem. This is a tree. And the pigs left it alone. And I've noticed that, I'm puzzled at the color right now. But I've seen a lot of this, and the pigs leave it alone. I think it's a hickory. And maybe someone can tell me if I'm wrong on that. But as I say, I'm puzzled at the color of the leaf. Up until now, the ones I've seen have been green. But in many places throughout this area, the pigs have left certain plants alone. Trees, right over here. I'll probably shake the camera a whole lot getting there because I'm crossing some dried up ditches. But here's another example of that tree that I'm calling a hickory. And I see here it hasn't changed that color. No, wait. No, that's an elm. That's another one that they leave alone. This they probably would have left alone, but they uprooted it. It was so shallow rooted. But that's just as well. That is a Russian olive. Some people here call it a autumn olive. It's a very serious invasive plant here. That, I think, is another elm. Here's one, like I was saying, like I was calling it a hickory. That's that same plant, but here it stayed green. Just not at all sure why it changed color, that one. Well, there the leaf is. Now, I don't know, maybe the other one's dying or something. Another tree, I'm really sorry about all this camera shaking. Another tree that they tend to leave alone is hawthorns. Here's a hawthorn. There's another one of those hickories. Now that, of course, is a Russian olive. Maybe, well, see, that's a hickory. Over here is an elm. No, but elm is one that I've seen in here that they'll leave alone too. Now that whole row right there are very old hawthorns, a little bit like crab apples. And and just beyond it is a whole area that there was the mining. There's a road down there, in there that the pigs will expose. I've talked a lot about that elsewhere. Well, enough at the moment. There's a willow that they left alone. That's no surprise. Here also is a willow that they left alone. Now this puzzles me a lot now because they've just stayed away from that the whole time. And I'm just, let's see if I can figure out what it is myself. Well, it's a sedge. I can tell by the triangular stem, and it feels, it's really rough to the touch. Maybe it's something called sawgrass. Although, as I say, it's a sedge. That fruit right there looks a whole lot more sedge-like. So if it's so, I don't know what it is. But they had no interest in it. And it's the only one right here. There's a multifloral rose that they've left alone. That's no big surprise. And this plant. I guess I'm going to have to wait until it flowers. It's getting ready to right now for me to name it. It's common enough. Oh, here's a lot of it. I don't know. Maybe somebody watching can tell me what that is. When the flower comes out, I'm sure I'll be able to identify it. We're going to go into the woods. We're at the edge of the woods, and you can see there's the goat pasture. And then down here along this ditch, even on the upper side, the goats they're not very interested in these. That doesn't jump to mind right now what that is, so maybe someone could tell me. Also this, I mean, it's common enough here, I just can't think of its name. But one of the reasons that I wanted to stop here, now there's a maple. This is a maple, which surely you people know, is this tree right here. I don't have that many of them right here, but it always fascinated me that here was a tree that had 3 different kinds of leaves on the same tree. One of them looks like a catcher's mitt. One of them, let's see if I can reach to it. One of them is plain, not lobed. One looks like a catcher's mitt, and the other's 3 lobed. There's the catcher's mitt one. See that? 3 different kinds of leaves. Well, that should give it away. It's a sassafras. It likes it where it's wet.